Here we are. We have our next installment in our video lecture series. And in this one, what I'm trying to do is, number one, to show you the demand curve. Number two, to show you what total revenue is associated with that demand curve. And three, to derive marginal revenue so you can see what marginal revenue looks like in relationship to the demand curve. So if we take a look at this, we can see that we have our demand curve here. You can see at a price of 7, people don't want to purchase any of this product. At a price of 6, people want to purchase 1. At a price of 5, people want to purchase 2. Price of 4, people want to purchase 3. And at 3, the quantity demanded is equal to 4. At 2, quantity demanded is equal to 5. At a price of 1, quantity demanded is equal to 6. And at a price of 0, quantity demanded is equal to 7. So what we need to do from here is to calculate our total revenue. And total revenue is just price times quantity. So we have the information that we need in the demand curve because it represents price and quantity combinations. So if we take a look, we have at a price of 7, people don't want to buy anything, so 7 times 0 is equal to 0. So let me put that point in there, and let's also make it so you can actually see it. So I'll turn the opacity back up. Alright, there we go. So there we have at a price of 7, our sales are equal, people want to buy 0. So our total revenue there is equal to 0. At a price of 6, people want to buy 1. The quantity demanded is equal to 1. So P times Q, 6 times 1 is equal to 6. So let me put that point right there for total revenue. At a price of 5, people, the quantity demanded is equal to 2. So 5 times 2 is equal to 10. Put that point in. And at a price of 4, people want to buy 3. Quantity demand is equal to 3, so 4 times 3 is equal to 12. And at a price of 3, people, the quantity demanded is equal to 4. So 3 times 4 is equal to 12, so I can put that point in there. And at a point here where the price is equal to 2, quantity demanded is equal to 5. So 2 times 5 is equal to 10. So the quantity of 5, total revenue is equal to 10. And when the price is equal to 1, quantity is equal to 6. So 6 times 1 is equal to 6. So the quantity of 6, total revenue is equal to 6. And when the price falls to 0, quantity demanded is equal to 7. So 0 times 7 gives us a total revenue of 0. So that's all the points for total revenue. Alright, so if I go in and select those points, wow. Let me highlight those. These are just the ones I want to highlight right there. Oh, I want to go to here. So there is our total revenue. Sorry about that little delay there. I've forgotten all these additional points I put in to make these highlight marks. That's why I was a little confused there. So there is our total revenue curve. So let me make sure that's labeled so you can see it. And let me actually move that out the distance from it so it's a little bit easier to see. So there's our total revenue curve. So you can see that initially total revenue increases as the price falls, and then we reach a maximum, and then our total revenue starts to decline as the price falls even further. So with total revenue, now what we can do is we can calculate our marginal revenue, because marginal revenue is the change in total revenue when the quantity changes by 1. So let's take a look at what our marginal revenue is going to be when our quantity is equal to 1. Well, what's the change in total revenue? Well, when the price is 7, quantity is equal to 0, which means total revenue is equal to 0. Once we sell 1 unit, we are lowering the price to $6 to sell that 1 unit, so 6 times 1 is equal to 6. So the marginal revenue associated from that sale of that very first unit is equal to 6. Because originally our total revenue was equal to 0. When we sold 1 additional unit, our total revenue is equal to 6, so therefore total revenue changed by 6 units. So if we go from 1 to 2, what's the change in total revenue? Total revenue goes from 6 to 10. So that's an increase of 4. So at 2, marginal revenue is equal to 4. And we generate another sale. So we go from quantity equal to 2 to quantity equal to 3. When we go there, total revenue jumps to 12. So at a quantity of 3, the increase in total revenue, it goes from 10 to 12. So at 3, marginal revenue is equal to 2. And what is it at 4? At 4, we see that our total revenue is equal to 12, and at 3 it was equal to 12. So the marginal revenue at a quantity of 4 is equal to 0. So if we were to connect those final points, right here, that will give us our marginal revenue. Whoa, didn't want to do that. All right. So I hope that helps to illustrate to you, number one, I wanted you to understand the difference between perfect competition and monopoly. In perfect competition, demand and price and marginal revenue are equal to one another. And that gives us a demand curve and a marginal revenue curve that are exactly the same and equivalent to the price. Here, if we have a downward sloping demand curve, like for example with a monopolist, we see we have a downward sloping demand curve implies that the marginal revenue curve is a separate curve from the demand curve. That means that the marginal revenue curve is inside of the demand curve. So if we take a look at this, this gives us our demand for a monopolist, and then here is the marginal revenue curve for a monopolist. That is distinctly, and that is very much different from what we saw in perfect competition, where demand and marginal revenue were equal to one another. So I hope that was of some help to you. I think it's important that you remember this, that if I assume that a monopolist is operating in a marketplace, that means there's a downward sloping demand curve, and it also means that you have a distinct marginal revenue curve that's inside the demand curve. So I hope that was of some help to you. If you still have some issues with this, be sure to see me during my office hours. I think I have posted additional office hours. I will be here this Friday, which is the 3rd. So May 3rd I will be in my office hours from 4 to 6, and then on the 6th, May 6th, I will be in my office from 2 to 6.